Today I am going to share with you my experiences in marketing, and I'm going to share with you a little bit of my career and how I made it to where I am today. And I will try not to get very techy with you. I'm kind of a marketing geek when it comes to my field. What I love doing the most is breaking down marketing and advertising campaigns and then looking at numbers to see how consumers engage with the brands that we work with. But to start out, my journey started when I graduated high school, and I was driven to become the next Martin Scorsese. And does anybody know who Martin Scorsese is?
What?
Nobody knows.
What?
Wow.
Think entertainment.
Okay, so Martin Scorsese is a very famous director and a producer. He also he was director in my absolute most favorite movie, which was Goodfellas. So if anybody you've ever heard of Goodfellas, that is my favorite movie. How about George Lucas? Does everybody know who George Lucas is? Okay. All right. I took that off because I didn't want to give it away, and I'm thinking, well. So a little bit about my education. I attended Penn State, and I went into school wanting to be a film major. I came out of high school, and I knew exactly what I wanted to do, so I started at Penn State. I excelled in film school until I experienced a reality check. And so sometimes when you're in college, you start taking classes that you find that you like or you love, and I went right into what I love, which was film. And it was about my senior year. I'm sitting with my professor, and he was a lot like me. He loved cinematography. He loved the production of a film, and we were sitting talking after work, and I'm like, hey, tell me about your life in LA, because that was my consideration. I wanted to go out to LA and be a famous director one day. And he started talking to me about how he went out there, and basically your first 5-7 years you work for free and on the sets. And he got married, he had a kid, and it sounded like, oh, great. And then he's like, and then you realize when you're like 28, 29, I'm still not making any money. I'm spending my entire nights bouncing at the Holiday Inn for a club. And he ended up losing his marriage, basically the relationship with his daughter. He was living in basically a cardboard box behind the Holiday Inn, and I sat there and go, oh gosh, I don't want that to be me. I'm a game planner. So I'm like, I better start taking some other classes just in case this thing does not work out for me, because the other thing that he told me is to make it in LA is like when you look at a Division I football team like Penn State, and any of them, less than 1% ever make it to the NFL, and less than 10% of the people who make it to the NFL are actually at superstar status. I'm thinking, okay, my chances of this are pretty slim. So I started taking business classes. I took a marketing class, I took a hotel restaurant management class, and I started just to kind of make myself a little knowledgeable in everything. And I quickly adjusted my education focus, and I tried to get a business minor, but I would have to stay 2 more years at Penn State to do that, so I just stayed focused on taking a bunch of general education classes. Marketing classes ended up being the most fascinating thing. I sat down in my first marketing class, and the professor said, if you only ever learn 2 things out of marketing, it's this. Never market what you believe in. So never put your own personal beliefs into your marketing campaigns, and second of all, listen to the consumer. So, and that's usually, when I work with people, the biggest downfalls when I go into a business, they're like, yes, we do this, and our customers want this, and want this, and want this, and then they pay our company to go and audience profile their consumer, and it's nothing what they think it is. And so you wonder why their advertising and marketing messages don't match up. It's because they really don't know who their customer is. I graduated very unfocused. So coming out of high school, focused, graduated from high school, very unfocused, but I was confident in my personality, and I was confident in the fact that I knew a little about enough to get myself in the door. And that led me to my first job. So after this big, big dream of mine, I oversold myself. I had an interview with at a hotel, and I got the job basically managing their bar and restaurant. I worked extremely hard to learn the business really quick, and I executed a plan and won over my staff, because number one, when you go into any type of management, you need the people who are working for you to really like, respect what you're doing, and want to work for you. But most importantly, I remembered what I was told in this marketing class to listen to my customers. So it was a small Holiday Inn. It had a bar and it had a restaurant. It was in a business park, so there was a lot of regular people that I started to see coming, and I started building relationships. We started talking, and I started developing restaurant promotions. I developed bar promotions. Two things: bring money into the place, but second of all, I got to really like these people, and I wanted them to come back so that they could talk. I could talk with them. Together, I teamed with the executive staff, and our Holiday Inn won National Award for Customer Service that year. But what I hated about it is I worked every day, 6 days one week, 7 days the next week, from 3 p.m. till 5 a.m. when the executive staff came in. That's what it was like being a night manager. And I did this all for 18 grand a year. So that was a lot of fun. I actually made more in tips in the bar when like a bartender would call off than I was making in my salary doing what I did there. So I absolutely, after 1 year, I knew that that was absolutely not the career I wanted to be in, and I moved on. I got lucky, and one thing I want to, the next 3 years of my professional career, I did sales, mainly advertising sales. And because I was so miserable at the Holiday Inn, I figured, I'm sitting one night and what can I do? What can I do? I don't want to do this anymore. I don't know what I want to do just yet. So I saw an ad in the newspaper for advertising sales, and there's always ads for advertising sales. And I saw that the person who was going to be interviewing was a Penn State alumni. So I'm like, oh, okay, we have the second largest alumni association in the United States. Maybe that'll help me. And so I went in, I met her, we talked about Penn State. We actually found the same restaurant that we both liked. We liked the same, so we kind of hit it off, and she gave me a job. And that was newspaper, and I spent 2 years mainly talking with small businesses and helping them develop their ads, so it was very much marketing focused. And then I moved on to cable TV, and I was selling TV ads, and that was kind of really cool for me because I went to film school and I have this degree, and now I'm actually helping people produce and make commercials, and not only that, selling them, putting them on TV, and it was a lot of fun. And I was there for about 6 months, and then something changed. I have always been a person who tries to position myself for opportunity. And the one thing that I always saw within the sales staff was that everybody leaves for lunch, but yet there's still businesses that call in during lunch that may want an advertisement on TV. And then I come back and there's always a stack of people who get leads, and they always gave them to the managers. So I said, that's it. Made nice with the person, the receptionist there, and I said, I'm not going out to lunch all week. If you get anybody who calls, just send them my way. I can talk with them right away. Well, first day, it was a Monday, and I got a call from a guy who owns a company. He's like, I want to take I'm looking at regional, national spots, and typically a local sales rep would handle a regional or national account, but I wanted to go vet out the opportunity. And that opportunity led me to a job that would eventually take me to a vice president of marketing at a company. Because when I went to meet with this group of people, the last thing that happened after this conversation, the president of the company said, and this is a small business, he said, my brother's wife is retiring to have children. And I need somebody to run marketing. She's been doing it for the first 10 years of the organization. Do you know of anybody? And I'm thinking, well, I'm doing really good at this job. I'm loving everything. And I just was a little arrogant. And I said, I may know somebody, and, it might be me. And he laughed, I laughed. And just on a whim, it was, I can always remember the day I met him because it was Good Friday, and I walked in, and there's nobody in the front. It's really small. They bought this big building, no receptionist, and I walked in, didn't see the camera. I got buzzed in, put my resume on the front desk, and I just walked out. That's basically all I wanted to do because I didn't want an opportunity to pass by. I didn't know what the guy was getting at, so I was kind of intrigued. And all of a sudden, the guy comes running down the hallway, waving his hand. Hey, I'm so glad you came back. I was hoping you were going to give me your resume. And I'm sitting in his office, and I should have been in church for Good Friday, and my mother was probably freaking out because I never did make it to church because I'm sitting there talking with the president and the CEO of the organization on a job. And so I left there. I loved the company, but what he was offering me was about $15,000 less than I was already making at that time. He called me the next day, offered me the position, and at that time I had just met Kristen. We were not very far into our relationship. I'm like, oh great, here I am. I'm thinking of taking a job that's actually going to be a very big step down for me, but the opportunity could be good. What I thought was, this guy was a visionary, and what chance would I ever have to work with 4 other people and grow an organization? You just don't get those chances every day. So I took less money and I went to this company. And my hardest transition was going from AT&T, which is now Comcast or Xfinity, which was a Fortune 50 company, and I had benefits. We got like new polo shirts. We got all the benefits. They paid for every single mileage of my car, lunches, expense accounts, all the little things. Back to a family business who's on at that time, I mean, they couldn't even buy me a great computer at Best Buy. The one question though that I didn't ask them, because I was supposed to go into marketing, was how big was your advertising budget? Because I think they're ready to go on national TV, and they actually had only $30,000 a month to spend. And I thought, oh gosh, you can't even buy a spot on national TV for $30,000 at the time. So, because they had no budget, I had to learn online advertising quick. And at that time, Google was just starting out, Yahoo, AOL, the banner ads of yesteryear. And I started calling and reading and found a lot of things.
Yeah. How old are you at this time?
How old was I at this time? I was maybe 24. So, 23, 24. I also, because of that lack of online knowledge, I had to do a lot of studying. I had to do a lot of reading. It was a small company. It did give me a lot of time to do that. But what I did learn from my career in sales is the salesperson that you're usually speaking to on the phone was very knowledgeable about their product. So I was not. So I relied on the salespeople at AOL to teach me, and they did, because they wanted my business. So it also led me to multiple roles. I started getting involved with administration. I started getting involved if, hey, if something needed, roof needed quoted, I can find somebody to help you do that. I just started taking on as much as I could because I wanted to be successful within this company. In 5 years, we grew the company from a $3 million business to a $28 million business. And we grew from about 35 people when I started to the height of it was about 300. And I experienced rapid growth, rapid change, new people. Every day was a new interview. And at that time, I was running IT, advertising, operations, and HR. And it was an absolute most stressful part of my life. However, I learned so much, and I always positioned myself at the company for that opportunity. And I built a marketing department of 8 people. Marketing is still my love at the company, even though I had all these other roles. My main role was still bringing in leads and having the salespeople convert those leads. And after 10 years, I needed a new challenge, which led me to my dream job. I started an ad agency. Basically, the company I worked for these 10 years invested into the ad agency and said, you go ahead and run it. This is your dream, go ahead and run it. What I learned really quickly is when you start running your own business, there's a lot of things. Even though I ran all these little areas of the bigger company, agency was different. I was an internal marketer working on one organization and now transitioning my team and my focus to be an external marketer, an agency marketer with clients in multiple disciplines and multiple different areas. So I had to learn a lot more things again because what I would do for one company may not apply to the other. There's no cookie cutter in marketing. It's all custom. And as much as you may look at the principles of marketing, they're all the same. Every single business is different. Every single business has a custom feel to it. We started off as a full service agency. And does anybody know what full service agency would be? A full service agency is an agency that offers traditional and non-traditional type work. So they can do video production, they can place an ad on TV. They also can do build your website, they can do online ad placement, all of that, they reach the spectrum, and what they're trying to gain is an AOR, an agency of record, meaning you as an agency control the entire account. We tried doing that, and we were very successful out of the gate, but I had a tough decision to make. My little agency could not compete against the big agencies because we were offering the same service that they were. We needed to do something to differentiate ourselves, to make ourselves stand out. So in year 3, I cut all production. I cut all TV placement. I cut all newspaper placement. We let go of some of our bigger clients to focus ourselves on digital and interactive. And that is the agency we are today. One of the things I did is I partnered with Salesforce.com before Salesforce.com. There was a company called ExactTarget. They did email, and then they were acquired by Salesforce. And we became a partner with them, and that opened up doors to us to, like I said, I'm always about trying to gain opportunity, trying to gain an edge. So becoming a partner and working with another company helped me land a client called UPMC, which we do a lot of work for in the email area. And now, like I said before, we're only digital. So we focus on everything that you would see from on your iPhone, on your computer, banner ads, and I'll go through a little bit of our services to give you a little idea of what we do. So here's a question. Does anybody know what SEO is? Nobody knows what SEO is? See, I'm a geek, so these are my geeky terms. If you don't know SEO, I guarantee you probably don't know what ORM is. So SEO is search engine optimization. And if you take a career in marketing, you will learn this term. And ORM is online reputation management. And I was talking to Kristen about this last night. She said, I bet she knows what you know what it is. I said, she goes, make it a question and answer kind of thing. And I'm like, no, everybody knows what that is. So this is a good eye-opening experience. So what's the difference between the two of them? Both of these services we offer. SEO is the content you want to create that people find you. A little marketing thing. Everything that you read, everything you put on a website is meant there to engage you for a certain reason. It is highly calculated, and there are people behind it that are basically looking at every single word so that when you go and search Google, you're able to find the relevant content that you need. And so with search engine optimization, we are trying to customize the content on a website so that when people Google or they go on Yahoo or they go wherever they are, they can find our content or our client's content so that they can make a sale, get you to their website, and do whatever they want, whatever their product or service does. So SEO is the good side. ORM is we create content to bury the things that you don't want people to read. So people who have bad customer service, people who maybe had a bad employee that blogged about them and say you never want to work for this company. We work to infuse positive articles within to try to offset the reputation, because reputation might happen because of one or two incidents, or it could come from a culture or behavior of a client. But for me, as a business person, I like number 2 because it costs a lot of money to create content and to create websites or whatever to bury the negative. It's much easier to focus on the positive. And we'll talk a little bit about that later. So now I want to talk a little bit about our company, Flying Cork, and educate you a little bit about what a digital and interactive agency does. The first thing I did when we started looking at Flying Cork is to say, for everybody in our organization, why do we exist? Why do we come to work every day? And this took a long time to figure out, but we help companies and organizations reach their right customer. So every single organization has their right customer. And that is the customer that buys whatever they need, goes and uses their service. You guys are all familiar with it, with the brands that everybody knows what a brand is, right? Yes? Okay, good. I got one, please.
Can anyone say what a brand is? What does brand mean? A label.
A label. So, Gap would be a label. It's everything that you wear and everything that is Apple, Breitling, Nordstrom. Those are the brands out there. That's your image. That's what you own. So we help a company find that right customer, the customer that's going to buy, the customer that's going to live their brand. Starbucks does it phenomenal. I'm sure all of you are familiar if you've been to Starbucks. It's a culture. It's a lifestyle type of brand. I mean, no one would have thought 10 years ago that you could get $6 for a cup of coffee or a latte or whatever, but yet we pay them because we want that experience. That's at the core of what we do, and we come in every day is to help the business that we have find the customer that's going to be their right one. And now I want to share.
You have till 42 now, right? So it's
Okay.
like, what, 3 minutes?
Yeah, it's a 4-minute video. I'm going to share with you a 4-minute video. Instead of me sitting here and talking, I was at a conference in Indianapolis, and this was a video that they kicked off the conference with at Salesforce that I thought kind of shares what I do on a daily basis, but not boring from you hearing it from us. So this is what a big brand of Salesforce does for 7,000 marketers when you go to Indianapolis at their conference. You'll have to read it. For their new product. We call this journey map. This is where we're trying to analyze what emails we send them. Fitbit is I have one. It's my new favorite brand. So in a nutshell, this is kind of what we do on a daily basis. We find interesting digital and interactive we use, and you see a lot from that video, we use analytics to define and align our customers' digital and interactive marketing to grow, to nurture their clients throughout their life cycle journey, which in a lot of brands that never ends if you do it right. What we do is we help them with acquisition, finding new customers, engaging the customers that they have, transactions, that's making the sale, retaining them so they continue to come back, and then re-engaging them when they kind of fall off the face of the earth for a little while. How we do this is our services. Analytics, I put that always up at the top because the numbers are what show you what you're doing. They're your measurables. That's how we find find out if what we're doing is actually good. I put content as second because it's everything that you write and say. So online, the only thing that you really own is the content you put out. So what I put on my website is the only content really that I own in my message. Because the minute I put it in the social atmosphere, you will take it and you will make your own impression of it, write about it, blog about it. I don't own that content. That's yours. So we focus real heavily on content because that's how you reach the right person. Digital advertising are the banner ads that you see. Paid search is the little Google AdWords on the side, the advertisements that you see. Email campaigns. Email is one of my most favorite things because there's nothing better than when you put together a campaign and I know when the person opened, who opened it, where did they click on that email, did they go back to the website, did they ultimately purchase. I can see all that behavior through the email that comes to my desk. And so can you're a fan of whatever brand you are, they know exactly what you're doing. They have all your data, they know what you purchased, when you purchased it, why you purchased it at a certain period of time, and they're going to continue to re-engage back. It's kind of freaky actually of how much we can do. Website design and development. We do mobile, we do social. A little buzzword that you'll hear in the future here is marketing automation. Basically what that is you come into, I'm Starbucks, I sign up for my gold card, and you're going to every month this email continues to come to you and try to get you to cash in on this or cash in on that, buy this. It's all automated, so there's not a human being behind it. We set out the campaign, we map the journey for some cases almost 2 years, and these emails fire off at the dedicated time. CRM is it's the sales platform. It's a database that pulls all the data, and then we are focused on our emerging technologies. So, what I look for when I hire, obviously in my business it's very specialized, but the number one thing that I look for when I sit down with somebody is their personality. My business is marketing. Marketing is all about sharing your emotions, sharing your feelings, working together. I love the best thing because I get the last interview, and my interview questions are, so what's your favorite TV show, and what's in your iPod? I want to know so I can make them feel like they're at home on day one. Second thing is good communication skills. Your generation is very challenged in the fact that you live in a world of text, you live in a world of social media, you carry on conversations through social media. One of the challenges I find with people coming out of college right now is their communication skills. Are they able to carry on a conversation? And some of the younger people have a hard time fitting in with our agency at first because we are a very personal agency. We're always hanging out and we're always talking. We're sharing ideas because we have all these clients that we've got to come up with ideas with. But I also want a strategic thinker. I want a strategic thinker who knows the difference between what they get in an email and what they get as far as a 20% off coupon from Macy's, but why they're getting it. Start breaking down because it's all calculated. A marketer has figured out why you like it. It's like the new what is it? Is it Verizon? I think it's Verizon's commercial, the half-fast commercial. Brilliant marketing campaign. But at the core of it, they're using a little bit of humor to get you in, but what they're really trying to say is they boil down to, people know what half of something is. So in this particular case, they're looking at, you're slow. You're half faster than somebody else. So they used a great play for geeky people like me. I laugh at them. I'm like, wow, I wish I was the person who created that. I'm actually jealous when I see something like that. But then if you boil it down to the pure communication, everybody understands what half is. So if you say half and fast, you know that you're comparing slow to lightning fast, which is what Verizon's trying to offer there. The question I always ask somebody when I hire them is, do you love to win or do you hate to lose? How many people here love to win? How many people hate to lose? Okay, some people can be one or other, but if you really think it down, I use this as motivation. People who love to win, I have to give them things to make them feel like they're winning something. Whether it's, hey, you need to achieve a 10% open rate in an email, and that's their win. And when I say it to them is, that's your win. People who hate to lose are a little bit of a different animal. I don't have to motivate them so much for the win. What I got to do is, you always keep them, you give them something that they want to achieve, you make it highly competitive because they're not going to lose. They're going to run through a wall for you because they just don't want to lose. There's no difference. It makes no difference whether I hire. It's all a motivation tactic of how I manage them when they come into my business. And I typically find people who play team sports hate to lose, and people who do more individual sports love to win, and it makes sense. The stresses of,
I
yeah.
have one quick question.
Yeah.
For the strategic thinking, how do you measure that? Do you ask them questions in the interview and make them do something?
I ask
How
them
do you-
usually what's their favorite brand, why they like their favorite brand. Did they ever think of why their favorite brand actually engaged with them? I try to get the subject that they know, and then hopefully, and I'm pretty good at being able to relate to just about anything. But that's typically how I look at that strategic thinker. And then if not, I start asking questions and seeing if I can pull out from them. Because a lot of times what we see in an advertisement is we just see it, but internally we're processing it a certain way, we just don't know it. So can you basically step back and say, well, what did this mean? How did this work? And that's from a strategic thinker. And it's real simple. All you have to do is turn off your mind of what you just got advertised with and start thinking, how did they get that? How did they get my email address? Well, how did they know that I buy this particular pair of jeans and now all of a sudden I see that? How is it when I'm on Google and I'm searching for something, I'm searching for whatever it might be, let's just use Starbucks because we've been talking about that. I'm searching about Starbucks, and all of a sudden I start seeing all these ads coming up on my computer for Starbucks. Yeah, they cookied you. They know what you're looking, and Starbucks is delivering you what's called a retargeted ad to try to get you to go back and buy. Same thing with abandoned shopping carts. If you buy online and you don't buy that pair of shorts from American Eagle, all of a sudden you start seeing these shorts pop up or American Eagle pop up. They want you to go back to that shopping cart. They know that you abandoned it. Go back and purchase their
They did that
service.
to me on Shutterfly the other day. I had created an ornament that I didn't want to pay that much for, so then the next day I had 40% off coupon email to go back to my cart and buy.
That's what they want to do, and they'll come back, and if you don't do it, you might get 50% off.
I have 3 days. I can still do it.
No, but my stresses really don't deal so much with the client as much as I stress more over game planning because I'm a game planner, and I try to. And my reward is when a game plan goes out and it works. And my game plan has a lot of options, A, B, C's, and D's, so that you can modify. The beauty of digital is you can modify on the fly. You didn't just go out and spend $100,000 on a commercial and spend $2 million on placing it on TV, and it doesn't work. I know if it's not working, I know if they're not engaging, and I can put up this next email within a minute and change course. Really quickly, before you leave, my advice, please watch your social media profile. I look at every single person that I hire. If they have a public profile, I look at it, and I'm not looking at it, I care less what's on it. I care more because that person, the minute I hire them, becomes a representation of me and my organization and the clients that I have. And if this person is sitting across from a CMO of a UPMC or whatever, is this the face that I want to put in charge of my brand? And so be very conscious of what you put on now, because it lives in the internet forever. Studying the how. When you look at something that you love, ask yourself, how did this come to me? How did they figure this out? And then start going backwards from there. What you can expect to be paid in this industry? Most people come out making probably $27,000 to $30,000 is usually where we start people off. You can take two paths. You can be very much a marketing generalist, or you can be a very, like, somebody in paid search who comes out. That's more of a specific type role. They could come out, they're proven by the time you're 5-6 years, you could be making $60,000, $70,000 if you're really good at it. So find the thing that you love in marketing if that's your career, and really try to be very specialized. You must embrace change if you take any career in marketing, because we live in the best time for digital and interactive marketing.
Do you find the kids coming out of college with all these digital and interactive tools, do they learn that in the classroom, or they pick it up on an internship? Or
they pick it up more on an
their own?
internship. Still, the colleges are still teaching the principles of marketing, which are still the most important. But you pick it up at an internship. You want to intern in as many places that you can. You want to do it when you're even in high school.
If you could go back, would you like still go into communication for your major?
Yes,
Yeah.
I would. I don't know how I would go back, because at Penn State you either took a career. If you took a career in advertising, you only learned advertising. If you took a career in PR, you only learned PR. And when I was in film in the College of Communication, I couldn't take the other ones. So you never really broadened across. And now I see colleges are starting to diversify their advertising. And then Mrs. Michaels, if you want to, if anybody emails you or wants these are 3 of my everyday sources. Media Post, go in there, log in, sign up for their newsletters. There's about 20 of them. Click the things that you like on it, and they will send you something every day. They're tidbits of the industry that'll help you with your knowledge. Ad Age is another great tool. An e-marketer, if you're interested in anything from an email or e-marketer, is such a great resource. And they put it in very much plain English. They put it in there so that basically high-level executives can understand what they're saying and maybe try to focus their tasks for their internal marketing department, or say to an agency like mine, hey, I saw this. You may want to try that. It might fit our business. More than likely, though, we're ahead of that, pitching it to them, saying this is right for your business.
How's the job market local versus other places?
The job market locally is very good. I will say that we are always, from a digital interactive perspective, we're always hiring. There is definitely, obviously, still the main advertising centers: New York, Florida, San Francisco is a big pod, Chicago. But the agencies in Pittsburgh compete just as well, and your choices are very diverse. So every company needs a digital and interactive part of their council.
Real quick, some of your best colleges that you see people that you hire people from?
The best school right now for what I do is Full Sail University. They are an incredible university, but Pitt, Carnegie Mellon, Penn State, it all starts with a good marketing foundation. But that's mainly where, being in Western PA, you see a lot of that. Thank you so much.